One evening, 10-year-old Emily and her brother Jack were traveling back home from a big city on a night train. As the train moved through the dark, dense forests outside, its old carriages seemed to belong to another era. The train station they departed from was almost deserted. Only a few passengers were on the train. Along with Emily and Jack, the station looked like a place where time had stopped. As the train started moving, Emily gazed out the window at the dark forest scenery. Suddenly, she noticed that the train seemed to be vibrating and slowing down. "Jack, doesn't the train feel a bit strange?" she asked. Jack listened carefully and focused on the creaks of the train. "I think it's just an old train," he said, but Emily felt uneasy. The station outside was old and dark, with flickering lights. As the night progressed, the train passed through increasingly dark and deserted stations. The lights of the stations turned off one by one, and the train entered deep, dark tunnels. Inside the train, the atmosphere became eerily quiet, and the train's movement slowed significantly. Emily and Jack, sitting in their seats, noticed the darkening scenery outside, which grew more unsettling. Suddenly, the train's lights started to flicker, and a strange humming sound filled the air. Emily and Jack exchanged worried glances. The train slowed to a stop in front of an old, nearly abandoned station. The station's lights were completely out, and the place looked as though it hadn't been used in years. The station doors, resembling an old railway sign, creaked open slightly, revealing a narrow, dark path inside. Other passengers looked at the dark interior of the station with curiosity. Emily and Jack decided to muster their courage and step inside. Inside, the station was dusty and deserted. Old luggage, worn-out benches, and grimy walls were scattered around. Emily and Jack turned on their flashlights and ventured deeper into the station. The interior seemed to be frozen in time, filled with old belongings, faded posters, and forgotten items. As they walked further, they heard an old melody coming from deep within the station. It sounded like an old piano tune. Emily and Jack decided to follow the music to find its source. At the far end of the station, they discovered a dusty piano. Its surface was covered in a thick layer of dust, yet it still played a haunting melody. They noticed a silhouette of an old man sitting at the piano. He wore a long coat, and his face was hidden in shadows. Emily and Jack approached the man, but he suddenly turned to face them. "Who are you?" the man's voice echoed eerily. "This station has been here for years. I wait for lost passengers to pass through at night." Emily and Jack stared at the man in fear. "Why is this station here?" Emily asked. The man's eyes seemed to sink into a deep darkness. "Every night, those who pass through must solve the secrets of this place, but they can never leave." Emily and Jack couldn't muster the courage to get any closer. Suddenly, the station door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The darkness enveloped them as the lights in the station went out. The two siblings panicked and tried to open the door, but it was firmly locked. The interior of the station was pitch black. After a while, they heard a low hum and faint whispers coming from the corners of the station. Old items seemed to move by themselves in the dark. Emily and Jack shone their flashlights around, searching for a way out. They discovered an old key in one of the corners, but it was too small to open the door. Emily carefully examined the key and noticed an old symbol engraved on it. The symbol seemed to be left by one of the station's former owners. Suddenly, a corner of the station began to glow. An old painting on the wall started to move. The painting depicted an old railway map and an ice symbol. The map showed the interior of the station and marked a hidden path. Emily and Jack decided to follow the map's instructions. As they moved deeper into the station, they encountered old crates, discarded belongings, and forgotten memories. Eventually, they arrived at a door marked by the map. They opened it to find an old room inside. In the center of the room was an ancient chest. They opened the chest to find it filled with old items and letters. The letters contained eerie notes from the station's past owners. No one can escape from here. This station is the eternal home for lost souls, one note read. Emily and Jack, feeling a growing sense of dread, suddenly heard the sound of a train approaching from outside. The station door slowly opened, and the train's lights began to shine again. Emily and Jack rushed back to the train, escaping the dark station. As they boarded the train, the doors closed behind them. The other passengers were behaving normally. The station remained a mysterious place, and Emily and Jack tried to forget that night. Yet every night, they couldn't shake the thought that something lingered in the dark corners of the station, and the old melody